Hi, Steve Reich here in the vault at Nonesuch Records, where all the records are kept, and I'm going to look for some of my favorites, okay? Here we go. And what do we find in here? What we find in here is Kronos Quartet early music. Now, this is not the usual Kronos up-to-the-minute contemporary piece. This piece is between 800 and 900 years old. Can you imagine Kronos playing that? Well, they do, and they do it beautifully. Now, what are they playing? My favorite cut here is from Periton. Periton is probably a name or a title of a musician in Paris at Notre Dame Cathedral in the 12th and 13th century. And he is the first composer of four-part music. There were actually four singers at the same time. Before that, there were Gregorian chant with one, and his predecessor, Leonine, wrote for two or three voices, but Periton put the icing on the cake. It wasn't soprano, alto, tenor, bass, it was tenor, 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 for various sociological reasons, but which creates a very different timbre of interlocking voices, all who are in the same very narrow compass. Very extended, and the most exciting thing of all is he bases it on a Gregorian chant, but he takes that. Let's just say the beginning of the chant was Maria. He'll take that ma, and he will have a tenor extend that as long as he can, and then another tenor will take and create a drone, and the other three voices will weave around that. But it's not a contemporary. The drone will change to the next one, re, and then that will be held for a long time. So it's a very radical, from my standpoint, I think from our standpoint here in the 21st century, way of making music that is curiously very contemporary. So obviously I love it, hope you will too. We move to something that really is contemporary. My old friend John Adams, you've heard of him, he's not only 800 years old, he's alive today, thank God. So this album is called Road Movies, but I'm zeroing in on Hallelujah Junction, which is for two pianos. And I guess part of why I like the piece so much is that the two pianos are interlocking at all times, and it creates a texture which is not entirely foreign from my own music, so you know how it is. And I think John, when he was beginning out, was interested in what I was doing. And I think he really succeeded in this piece, and I hope you will too. Hallelujah Junction for two pianos by John Adams. Well, here we have something that is not part of the European tradition, whether it's 800 years old or today. This is all the way from Bali, which is part of Indonesia, and which has a very distinguished and very particular musical tradition of a lot of percussion. Since I was trained as a percussionist, as some of you may know, there's a lot of percussion in my music. I was interested, where in the world is percussion the dominant voice in the orchestra, so to speak? Well, here's Exhibit A, because the gamelan is all percussion instruments, and sometimes they have bowed instruments or wind instruments, but basically it's the percussion that carries the day. But this is a very interesting album, because besides having a regular, gamelan members playing the instruments, there's a piece called Kechak, or Monkey Chant, which is a series of interlocking voices going chick, 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 chick. I can't do it, but it's really powerful, and you have a lot of people all interlocking parts of percussive vocal sounds. It's really quite astounding, and I hope we'll all have a chance to hear it. Music from the Morning of the World, it's called. It's Balanese Galanet on Nonesuch. Since we've left the continental United States and all of Europe behind us, we're going from Indonesia to Africa. And to extend that question, where in the world is the dominant voice percussion? Where is the major instrument of the orchestra percussion? Africa and Indonesia are definitely the two candidates. This is an album that has a lot of short chunks in it, and most of it's from Ghana. I had the good fortune to go to Ghana in 1970 and study with drummers over there, and that was a very illuminating experience. This is the 10th cut here. They're very short cuts, but it will give you a taste of what African percussion music can be, and it's definitely worth listening to. We come back home to the United States of America. As a matter of fact, we come back to New York City, and we find Carolyn Shaw. Carolyn Shaw is a remarkable musician who's already won the Pulitzer Prize at a remarkably young age. And this album is done with percussion. Percussion, quartet, and voice is not your usual ensemble by a long shot. But with Carolyn Shaw, who is an amazingly flexible musician, she also plays a violin, she occasionally plays keyboard, but she's a remarkable, fine singer. And she can appear as like a chanteuse almost in a club, or she can appear as like, I've never heard that before, what are they doing? But the bottom line is it's always done well. And this is a very unusual combination, but it's quite immediately appealing, and I think that if you listen to Carolyn Shaw and Soul Percussion, you're going to love it.